call it the Spring Nationals, but you wouldn't believe it with the weather that we have here today. It's snowing today at approximately 35 degrees, but that hasn't stopped anybody from coming out today. It's a potpourri of dirt events, and if you like mud bogging, racing, and monster trucks, you'll enjoy the competition. We'll be right back with action here at the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Jamboree right after this message. Truck enthusiasts enjoy the manufacturer's midway behind the grandstand here, and thousands of people have come by the General Tire exhibit. Kirk Calber's with General Tire. Kirk, what does a show like this do for your company?
Shows like this really help our brand awareness. They get us in front of a captive market where we can be around the people who buy and customize trucks and are very interested in the off-road racing.
Trucks seem to be very popular in this country.
Well, yeah, light trucks are the fastest growing segment in the performance market that we have right now. Out of the top 6 selling vehicles in 1988, 3 of them were light pickup trucks.
All right, you're at a show like here today. Do you go to any other shows around the country?
Oh, we do shows all over the country, and as you can see, they are a lot of fun.
I see what you mean. He has a good time on the show circuit for 4-wheel drive trucks.
Desert-style off-road racing, dual mud bogs, plus a monster truck challenge and a show and shine competition. All add up to 3 days of non-stop action for 4-wheel enthusiasts as Chevrolet, the heartbeat of America, presents the 4th annual General Tire 4-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Spring National. The fans get involved at the General Tire Toss, volleyball, skateboard, or hay haul. Show and Shine awards include everything from neatest personalized plates to best interior.
On your vehicle here, what do you have? Most people think attached to your vehicle.
The Jamboree features peer-judged Show and Shine awards and a manufacturer's midway filled with the latest in aftermarket automotive parts and accessories. The Jamboree is hosting some 1,500 vehicles, competing for money and prizes. Over a dozen classes of off-road vehicles competing on the General Tire short course, filled with jumps and hairpin turns. Monster truck racing and car crushing, plus 6 classes of 4-wheel mud racing featuring dual track action.
The action never stops here at the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Jamboree. And while the mud buggies continue to race through the mud pits here all day long, we'll be right back with action here at the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Jamboree right after this message. When it comes to mud bogging here at the General Tire 4-Wheel Drive and Off-Road Championships, you can't beat the big boys, the king of the hill. We're talking about the super modifieds and Class E. Couple of rules to remember. They'll be running cut tires in this class. The minimum weight of the vehicle is 1,850 pounds, and they do allow superchargers and injection systems on these engines. This class simply is going to fly. So let's go to the action right now. We start things off here in the super modified mud bogging class with lead sled driven by Craig Jones out of Chesterton, Indiana. The timing light system is ready, the electronic timing. Here they go! Well, you can see he got off to a real good start, and then about 3/4 of the way down the track, he hit that big hole that so many of the drivers have been talking about all day today. He gets through the mud bog. It's going to be a slow time for him. Lead sled driven by Craig Jones of Chesterton, Indiana. With so many of the drivers having a canopy over the vehicle, it's unusual to see a mud bogger like this. But here's Wild Ride driven by Don King of Neola, Iowa. This is a little bit like staging in drag racing as the racers come to the line. They just want to get lined up straight, because when they decide to take off, they point it and punch it. Anywhere from 600 to 1,000 horsepower here today. Wild Ride, ready to do battle as he comes to the line. They make sure the electronic timing is on to give us accurate times, and we're ready to go. Wild Ride, Don King, Leola, Iowa. And Don King has bottomed out about 3/4 the way down the track. He got off to an excellent start, and then all of a sudden he had engine problems, and he is literally bogged down here in front of the main grandstand. For the mud bogger to get into the mud, you just line it up, point it, and shoot it. But getting out's another story. As they pull Don King out of the mud pit, you'll notice that they have a large cable attached to the rear of the mud bog. And then they pull him out with a large 4- or 2-wheel drive tractor. That cable is attached to the mud bogger before he leaves the line. Very simple, gets the job done. These drivers in this Class C, the super modifieds, are very serious in what they do. And here comes one of the most beautiful machines in the class, the Jeep. It's called Obsession, and Mark and Cheryl Miller are the owners. Mark will be doing the driving. They hail from Waukegan, Illinois, just north of Chicago. The time to beat right now is 11.125 seconds. Led Sled is in the lead. Now he has been given the go sign. He is free to lead the line whenever he wants. And it's a good one. It's a new leader. A fast time, and that's going to put him into the lead right now. Obsession takes the lead, driven by Mark Miller of Waukegan, Illinois. And the crowds love it here at the General Tires Chevrolet 4-wheel drive and off-road Jamboree. Oh, a tough break for Obsession, driven by Mark Miller of Waukegan, Illinois. We've received word he has been disqualified for failing to stop down at the end of the track. They have a required distance that the drivers must stop in. He did not stop, and they disqualified him. A tough break for Mark Miller. Here comes Mr. Bullslinger to the starting line, driven by Ron Olson out of Barrington, Illinois, also a nearby Chicago driver. A lot of good mud bogging in the state of Illinois. The time still to beat, 11.125 seconds. They'll bring it up to the electronic timers. That timing system embedded into the mud, they make sure that it stays clean and clear so that when the front tires pass through the timer, it starts the clock. He's in position. He gets the high side. Oh, and a disappointing run for Mr. Bullslinger. Ron Olson from Barrington, Illinois, here again. Just like Wild Ride, driven by Don King, he got about halfway down the track, and then we could see that he started having problems getting bogged down in the mud, and he is right up to the floor plan in mud. A tough break for him. Pulling up now out onto the track is One Trick Pony, driven by Bob Berquist out of Fort Madison, Iowa. Here's the driver that's been involved in mud bogging for about 11 years, a real pro. And he's also calm, cool, collected, and he doesn't get real excited when he comes to the line. Well, the fast time so far in this class has been Craig Jones at 11.125 seconds, so that's the time to beat. Bob Berquist, Fort Madison, Iowa. He's on it. Well, Bob Berquist made a slow start into the mud. He's still got a long way down the track, but he, like the last three guys, is going to finish about 3/4 the way down the track. Bob Berquist Sports, Madison, Iowa, one-trick pony. Jim Bramford coming to the line from Kearney, Nebraska with the 1988 S10 Chevrolet Blazer. It's a carbureted small block. Jim Bramford, Kearney, Nebraska, the Chevrolet heartbeat of America, S10 Blazer. The time to beat, Craig Jones's 11.125 seconds. He brings that engine RPMs up, and he's off the line. Look at that, what a run for Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska. 17:33 heartbeat has made a spectacular run through the mud. They had trouble starting, and earlier he came to the line, was prepared, brought the RPMs up, and the crowd here at the Winnebago Fairgrounds loves it. Jim Bamford's time, 4.90 seconds, and he takes a commanding lead over second place Craig Jones. Remember, Jones, 11.125 seconds. So Jim Bamford now in the lead.
It's easy for you four-wheel and off-road fans to become part of one of America's fastest-growing motorsports series, the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals. Whether you're into mud bogging or off-road twisting, turning, bumping, and grinding, or just want to show off your hot 4x4, the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree National Series has it all. Be one of the thousands of off-roaders who have enjoyed our three-day 4x4 party. Write to us at the Four-Wheel and Off-Road Jamboree Nationals, P.O. Box 726, Indianapolis, Indiana, or call us today at area code 317-236-6522. We're awarding over $30,000 in cash and prizes to participate at each Jamboree Nationals. Monster goodie bags, cashback, and a great midway full of manufacturers with the latest development in off-road technology. Plus, you'll get a chance to talk tech with industry leaders and the staff of Four-Wheel and Off-Road magazines. Join us and be a part of it.
The fans here in the Midwest are enjoying it very much. When we come back, we will go to mud racing on the dual mud pits in front of the grandstands right after this commercial message. Coming to the line now, Hard to Hold, driven by Keith Griffin out of El Dorado, Illinois, one of our long list of Illini drivers here. And now the big time to beat, 4.90 seconds, held by Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska with 7:33 heartbeat. He gets the go sign from the starter. You're looking hard to hold. A great run for him. The time for Keith Griffin, 5.75 seconds. So he now moves into second place behind Jim Bramford out of Kearney, Nebraska. Keith Griffin, 5.75 seconds with Hard to Hold. He hails from El Dorado, Illinois. In the staging area right now, it's the truck called Bonkers, driven by Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio. That's a suburb just east of Cleveland, Ohio, on the southern shore of Lake Erie. The time to beat, 4.90 seconds. Jim Bramford in the lead. Mike Camella now coming to the starting line. Interesting as we take a look at these trucks, everybody's got a little bit different design, different kind of body on them. It's one of the unique things of mud bogging. Here goes Bonkers. And it's a good run for Bonkers. Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio. He's in the mud fast. He's out fast. He did not have any problems, as we can see, coming down the track. And it's going to be a good time, and that's going to put him now in the top three. 6.15 seconds for Mike Camella out of Mentor, Ohio with Bonkers. That puts him number 3 in the class. Cutting loose is the truck, the driver, Ted Kruger, out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, now in the staging area as he comes to the starting line. The time still to beat. Jim Bramford's 4.90 seconds with 17:33 heartbeat. A lot of trucks yet to go in the class. about 3/4 the way down the track, where several of the other drivers have had problems here today. Dan Myers coming to the line out of LaPorte, Indiana, with Short and Sweet Chevrolet. As he rolls into the mud, the goo, here in front of the main grandstand at the Winnebago Fairgrounds, just west of Rockford, Illinois. The timing electronic timer is now on. We're ready to roll. Dan Myers. Timer is now on. 5.50 seconds for Dan Myers out of LaPorte, Indiana, with Short and Sweet. That puts him number 2 right now. Here's Dirty Thrill, driven by Rudy Chazza and Greg Sabota out of Alburnett, Iowa. 4.90 seconds the time to beat it. They've got engine problems as they stall it on the starting line. They restart. Here they go. Oh, they are really in the mud. And the mud is up to the driver's door. You can barely see the tires. What a mess. Well, it's a dirty job, but somebody's got to do it. Now, just the look of the car looks fast, doesn't it? And this is going to be the Michigan off-road team driven by Mark Watrous of Lansing, Michigan. For you drag racing fans, this is Mark Oswald's old funny car body. They decided that it would be very good and good-looking in mud bogging competition. The time to beat is still 4.90 seconds. Jim Brantford in the lead from Kearney, Nebraska, with 17:33 Chevrolet Heartbeat. This is a supercharged engine, the first one of the class here this afternoon. Ah, what a run! Spectacular, and it's going to be close for the lead. 5.53 seconds for Mark Watrous out of Lansing, Michigan, with the Michigan off-road team. That puts him number 3 in the class. Chicky's Toy, driven by David Chick out of Paris, Missouri. He's been competing for 11 years. The time still to beat, 4.90 seconds. As he brings the Chevrolet to the line, the electronic timer now, it'll start when he goes across. Here he comes. It looked like he had a problem with the visor on his helmet as he was coming down the track. He was hanging on with both hands to the steering wheel. Then all of a sudden, one hand would go up to his helmet, back down to the steering wheel, back up to the helmet. So evidently a problem with his visor on the helmet. And he bogs out about 3/4 the way down the track. Mudbuster up next, driven by Mark Green out of Waukegan, Illinois. Still, the time to beat is our leader, Jim Brantford, out of Kearney, Nebraska, with 17:33 Chevrolet Heartbeat. In second place at 5.50 seconds, Short and Sweet, driven by Dan Myers out of LaPorte, Indiana. And number 3 right now is Mark Watrous out of Lansing, Michigan, at 5.53 seconds. So here we go, Mudbuster, Mark Green, Waukegan, Illinois. What a run! A spectacular race through the mud.
5.41. Good run on the Mudbuster.
And the crowd loves it. That puts him number 2 right now. One to go in the class. The last driver, the big Chevrolet with that wide front end out there. Here comes Think Fast to the line, driven by Mike Jennings of Libertyville, Illinois. 4.90 seconds still the time to beat. And you can see Mark Jennings had some problems coming off the line, and he got bogged down to the mud pretty quickly, and he was never able to get up on top of the mud and gain any speed. Jim Bamford out of Kearney, Nebraska, winning the heat here this afternoon at the General Tires 4-wheel drive and off-road Jamboree, and we'll be back with it right after this break. Jim Bamford out of Kearney, Nebraska wins it this afternoon with the truck called 1733 Heartbeat. And Jim, you've come a long way for this event, the General Tire 4-wheel drive and off-road championship, and you got to feel mighty good winning it.
Yes, I do.
4.90 seconds. Did you ever feel you'd have that good a time here today?
Yes, I did.
Well, you were confident that you had a good shot of winning it. What was your strategy going into today's competition?
Well, setting the chassis so it'd get its best traction off the line.
How much horsepower did you have out there with the Heartbeat?
750 horse.
Out of Kearney, Nebraska. 1733 Heartbeat. We've seen it all here this weekend as Chevrolet, the Heartbeat of America, has presented the General Tire 4-wheel drive and off-road Jamboree. Through the cold and the snow at the Winnebago Fairgrounds just west of Rockford, Illinois, it has not diminished the enthusiasm for the thousands of fans that have made their way here from all over the United States for the Spring Nationals. I hope you've enjoyed the competition. I'm Dave Grimm. So long, everybody.